Helps if I start recording, you know? Okay. Hello everybody, my name is Rachel and welcome to my weekly wrap-up of August 14th, 2016, wherein I tell you about the 4 things I read this past week. I do apologize that there's a lot of background noise in this video. I have to film, and unfortunately everybody's mowing their lawns this morning, so I really hope you can't hear that. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is Much Ado About Nothing by William Shakespeare. This is the hardcover signature Shakespeare edition that I hauled recently, and I was really impressed at the layout of this. It had a lot more explanatory notes than I thought there would be in it. There's notes on the left side as well as little vocabulary terms defined in the margins on the right side. It's just a very clean, clear layout with lots of white space, and it just made it so fast and enjoyable to read. I really liked it. These editions are also illustrated. They have the paper cutout inserts and some other illustrations throughout, which are by Kevin Stanton. I thought they were really pretty, but honestly I appreciated the layout of the text itself more than the illustrations, because that's how I am. For people who don't know, Much Ado About Nothing is about Benedict and Beatrice, who it was implied they were previously lovers, it didn't work out, and now whenever they meet, they throw barbed witticisms at each other. It is hilarious. Their friends basically vow to make them fall in love with each other. There's also another story about Beatrice's cousin Hero, who falls in love with Claudio. Then the villain of the play slanders her, and Claudio renounces her at the altar. They pretend that she dies so that Claudio will eventually take her back, and it's all good fun, and of course, because it's a comedy, everybody gets married by the end. This is definitely my favorite comedy by Shakespeare, and given how happy it makes me feel, it's probably my favorite play by him, because I love Hamlet. It's my favorite of the tragedies, but that is depressing. So I'd much rather reread this. On the other hand, I haven't reread or rewatched an adaptation of Hamlet in quite some time, and it's brilliant. The only thing that's changed for me with this play is that I don't like Claudio. I don't remember what I thought about him or Hero from my first reading, but he was pretty unmemorable, and this time around, dude does not deserve Hero. I mean, he's just way too quick to believe and then say nasty things about his betrothed. It's like, no. But it's Shakespeare, of course they're gonna get back together, but I think this might be something that other people have analyzed and critiqued about this play, is that Claudio, the way he behaves is just not exactly right. I thoroughly enjoy this play and I have nothing bad to say about it. The next thing I finished was The Voyage of the Basilisk by Marie Brennan. This is the 3rd memoir by Lady Trent about a female dragon naturalist in an Edwardian/Victorian type of fantasy world. In her ongoing adventures, she takes a 2-year voyage on the ship Basilisk to visit as many lands and see as many different types of dragons as possible, and adventures and complications and scandals ensue. I enjoyed this quite a bit, but it took me a while to get back into the groove of the story, to become reacquainted with the characters, because it's been quite a while since I read the first 2 books. The first half of the book I thought was just okay, but then the second half hit and some of the revelations and the discoveries came, and I got quite excited, so I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I really need to read the series faster than I have in the past. The only thing I've heard people complain about this series is that it seems to be more about feminism rather than dragons. I think that's the thing that I heard a lot of people say about the first book, A Natural History of Dragons, that people thought they were being promised lots and lots of dragons, and then they got mostly the feminist actions of the first lady dragon naturalist. I never had any problems with this. I actually may not be as passionate about dragons and fantasy as many people are. I know, please, no mobs. I'm just trying to be honest here. But I actually like the balance of dragons and those elements in these books versus the social and cultural discussions. I think it works a lot for me, but it's not heavy-handed. Did you know that I've gone 26 years without reading a Mercedes Lackey book? I don't know how that happened either, but I finally fixed that by reading Arrows of the Queen, the first book in the Heralds of Valdemar trilogy. This is a fantasy book from the 80s, and it might be like the first of the Valdemar books that Lackey has written. I'm not sure about that, but it's old. This was recommended to me by Catherine, who said it made her think a lot of the Alana books by Tamara Pierce, and totally it did. It was like a combination of Dragon Song or Dragon Singer by Anne McCaffrey and Alana the First Adventure by Tamara Pierce, because it's, you know, a young teenage girl runs away from home to become a knight, or in this case a herald, and she's trained and everyone loves her and stuff like that. It's a real feel-good, almost Mary Sue type of story, but it was solid. Unlike Alana, and definitely unlike the Harper Hall trilogy by McCaffrey, Lackey is really clear that what happens to this main character Talia with the situation she escaped, it was one of physical and mental abuse, and like it actually is stated by characters that that was what it was, and all the adults in her life when she's becoming a herald, they want to help her. They're basically providing a nurturing, affectionate environment and psychological care. It was really interesting to read it like that. I thought that was actually more interesting than the real story, because it was a pretty typical fantasy coming of age where a girl wants to be a knight-like figure. So enjoyable. I will definitely continue on with the trilogy, but I wouldn't say that this strikes me as highly original decades after it was published. Did any of that make sense? I'm not gonna repeat myself because I think it made sense. And the final book I read was Ghost Talkers by Mary Robinette Kowal. This is her latest book about mediums in a spirit corps in World War I. It's specifically set in 1916, and it's about an American woman named Ginger who is a medium in the spirit corps. They debrief the souls of dead soldiers and take their information from the front and pass it on to the military intelligence. And Ginger discovers that there is a traitor in their midst, and the Spirit Corps is threatened because the Germans are trying to target it directly and trying to find out where it is located. So she has to catch a traitor and save the Spirit Corps when basically nobody believes her. They think she's making all of this up. I have a full review of this book up on my channel already, so I will link that for you if you want to know my full thoughts on it, but basically I really loved it. The actual plot was a little bit secondary to me because I had such emotional feels about the characters and their relationships, but it was very, very well done, and I hope that more people read it soon. If you love Kowal's work like I do, especially if you love her characters like Jane and Vincent and their marriage from the Glamorous Histories, then I think you're gonna really enjoy Ghost Talkers. That is everything from me this week. I am currently still reading Sinners by Pat Gadigan, and I have started Any Other Name by Emma Newman, which I am buddy reading with Maya. I have to go pack now for Worldcon. Also, I need to clean my house, because is there anything worse than coming back from a long vacation to a dirty house and being like, I really need to do dishes, but I would just prefer to fall in bed and go to sleep. I don't want that to happen, so I'm gonna go away now. Thank you for putting up with my jabbering for one more week, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.